Hello, I'm here with Peter Williams from the Family Education Trust. You're the director, aren't you, Peter, of the Family Education Trust? Peter, 57 years ago, abortion was legalised in the UK, and we were told it was being made legal so that it could just be rare and safe. But now we've had well over 10 million abortions. In fact, 10,605,611 children have had their lives lost to abortion. How did we get to this stage, Peter?
Well, the culture changed. When you make something legal, you implicitly send a message through law that actually this is fine, this is okay. And of course, what we found was that at the time, 100,000 women were having abortions every year. That's what the most liberal estimate of women having illegal abortions. So it might not be even as many as that, but that was the most liberal estimate. Now we have 200,000 a year. That is twice as much, totally outstripping population growth. So clearly the law does have an effect. Even if it was 100,000, that means that there was an effect by the fact that the law was saying this is wrong. And now that's completely gone. So people feel very often that as uncomfortable or as bad as it might be, it's still something which should absolutely be even a right. We've even gone so far as that. So this, I think, shows the importance of law in this area, that the law has a magisterial role in telling people on a moral level that unborn children have the right to life, that there is inherent human dignity in every single human life. And that's why there should be a law outlawing this entirely.
I think you've brought up a really important point, Peter. I know when I've talked to my good friend Rachel Mackenzie, who runs the post-abortive ministry, Rachel's Vineyard, she said to me that the only thing that would have prevented her from having an abortion is if it had been illegal. Do you think that we underestimated the effect of legalising abortion, or do you think that this is something that could have been guessed before legalising it?
Well, as you say, it was meant to be a very restrictive law. The law really only says that there should be abortion for cases where there are extreme medical situations, which already actually was legal under a Supreme Court, under a High Court judgment. Then there was also the idea of having it for very severe cases of physical or mental health of women, and also for children who are disabled. And at the time, there were extremely anti-disabled attitudes. You read the Hansard description of the debates that are being held in Parliament, and unborn children who are disabled being described as monsters, things like that. So we've moved on actually in that regard. But the idea was that it was meant to be extremely narrow, extremely restrictive. And instead what we have is abortion practically on demand. Because Section C, which goes for mental health abortions, isn't really practiced properly. It's effectively an excuse for doctors to say, well, okay, if you want an abortion, and if you're not granted an abortion, that will in some way damage you mentally. Something like that is going on, and so consequently we have abortion on demand. So what we really actually should have is a law that's very, very much strengthened in that regard, if you wanted it to be restrictive. But the position that I have is that, of course, and FET and the wider Right to Life movement, is that every single life, every single human being, strictly speaking, not life per se, every single human being, the life of every human being has inherent value, has inherently the right to life, and that therefore there should be no circumstance under which we kill an innocent human being. That's what abortion always involves. Abortion always involves either taking a pill that causes a miscarriage, in other words, starves or suffocates the baby to death, or a surgical procedure that tears the baby into pieces, either through strong surgical instruments, through a powerful vacuum, or even by inserting salt into the baby's heart to cause her a fatal heart attack. This is the reality of abortion. We often use euphemisms. What we should be talking about and really recognising is the reality of what abortion truly is. And the more we talk in terms of euphemisms, life and choice and all the rest, the more we're getting away from the central moral question. And that's the fundamental, I think, flaw of the understanding that people have. People don't realise what abortion is. They're happy to go with this broad euphemism, these vague categories, rather than talking about the reality of what abortion is. So that's where we should focus in the future, I think. And unless we do, we'll continue to see people having this fig leaf of a law covering what is really just. It's meant to be a restrictive law, but really allowing for abortion on demand.
Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you for all the work that you're doing at Family Education Trust to help highlight this and other issues which are so anti-life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.